What's up, Second and 15 Nation? This is your host, Michael Roscoe, and welcome to Second and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast brought to you by Old City Sports Network. It is finally game week, y'all. We have been waiting too damn long for this, but it is finally here. Today will be the start of the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens, who will be the season home opener. But the more important game that we're going to talk about is the Friday night game in Sao Paulo, Brazil, a first for the NFL. And joining me today is a good friend of mine representing the Green Bay Packers fandom for, my friend group, this area, etc.
Go Pack, go.
This is my good friend and rapper from the state of Virginia, Marquise, a.k.a. Logos the Poetic. Good to see you, my man.
Good to see you too, man. Thank you for finally, reaching out, having me on this, on the podcast, man. Second to 15, I've been a long time fan of this. I'm so happy to see all of what it's grown into. These microphones, these arm stretchy boom mic stands. This is wild for me. This is wild. This is an honor to be here, man.
A Packers fan, a fan of an Eagles podcast. Y'all heard it here, folks.
Yeah, I do not feel safe. I walked in and I'm just sitting right underneath the link, and I'm like, oh God,
Oh
God.
At least you're not wearing an opposing team jersey, because then everyone in that photo would be mad at you.
Exactly. They start staring at me and stuff. Yeah, no, I am a fan of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So
You got to be. It's such a great show.
There's that. So I feel like through dimensions, I am a fan of like the Eagles. In some dimension of me, I'm wearing an Eagles jersey. It's definitely not this one, but I respect any team that's rocking the green. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. All right, before we get into everything, just going to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. So, Second and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast, and the Old City Sports Network are brought to you by Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. Head on over to your local store, or better yet, head on to righteousfelon.com and use our promo code OCSN for 15% off your order. Any orders over $50 will receive free shipping. We are also brought to you by SeatGeek. Head on over to SeatGeek.com or use the mobile app on your phone, Apple or Android, for your next show, and use our promo code Old City Sports Network, all one word with E at the end of old, for $20 off of your first purchase. And if you can't make it for whatever reason, because life happens, it'll credit your order to your next trip. We are also brought to you by Warlord Beard Oil. Head on over to warlordbeardoil.com and use our promo code OLDSPORTS, all caps with E at the end of old, for 15% off your beard oils, washes, soaps, lotions, whatever the hell you need. It's on there. Orders over $75 will receive free shipping. We are also brought to you by Decals by Aaron. If you're in the Delaware County area and looking for your next Delco merch, head on over to decalsbyaaron.com today. And finally, don't forget to check out our own website, oldcitysports.com, where you can find shows such as Second and 15, but also Quit Chasing, Check the Net, The Living Room Show, What Can I Remember, and more. And use our promo code on the merch site, Old City, for 15% off your purchase.
Nice.
Right?
Excellent. That was
You should
really
use that
solid.
too.
I will. I'll go. I'll hop on. You got to send me the link though.
The link.
Scared
All
me
right.
once again.
Before we scare off these viewers, let's go into this. So this week, as most of you all know, I've had guests on in the past. This is my first in-person guest, so very, very exciting moment for all of us.
Nice.
And we're just going to go into some Q&A, some discussions that I thought were vital to this upcoming week. And for those who've been living under a rock, we do play for the first time in not only Brazil, but in South America. A big move by
South
the NFL.
America. Yeah, I've actually heard about them trying to make this move for a long time. I feel like the NFL has been trying to crack into the South American market. I believe at one point they were trying to open up a stadium in the Central America, the Mexico City. I think there was talks of that at one point, but
Yeah, there's been rumors about that for sure.
yeah. I think this is the step to try to make football a more of a global stand, kind of soccer and everything else.
Yeah, because they have leagues in other countries. They've been doing this in Europe for over a decade now.
Yeah, and Canada's got its own thing going on. Has had its own thing going on for a while.
We've played in London long enough. Not hating on the London games,
right?
Don't get me wrong, but
they look
let's
stunning.
branch out.
Yeah. Let's absolutely let's spread our wings and fly a little bit more.
Our wings.
I thought you were
I could
gonna
do
go
this
in-
all night, man.
I really thought that you were gonna go into the fly, eagle, fly,
On the
something,
road
something.
to
Yeah, I knew.
victory. All right, well, let's dive into this. So, we've been seeing a lot of concerns about this whole Brazil game, mainly because, from a situational standpoint, there's been the wildfires and the concern about the air quality, but also what people, I don't know who these people are, whether it's NFL execs or coaches or anything like that. They're telling players not to do specific things. Someone told Josh Jacobs, running back for your team,
Yeah.
that you couldn't wear green because it was related to gangs, but that has since been retracted. And they were telling Eagles players, don't walk around without your phone or with your phone out, and don't walk alone, all that kind of stuff. Really making it sound scarier than I think it actually is. But what do you think? Is all this concern justified, or is it blown out of proportion?
I think that a little bit of it is blown a little bit out of proportion. You got to understand that, like, just like any other area in America, there's going to be good parts and bad parts.
Mhm.
You do see online, like, a lot of people go in alone. Like, I'm a connoisseur of a lot of YouTube. So, there's a lot of travel tube and stuff like that. And you'll run into situations in which people will post things that are like, oh, these people stopped me from being, robbed. And it's like millions of views. And I feel like that's kind of like the energy that's kind of being put into the air. But
Mhm.
I mean, it's the fucking NFL. Like, if
Yeah.
you think that these people are going to be walking around without a bodyguard in any sort of situation out of the states, like, you're insane. Like,
Mhm.
these people are protected. They garner millions of dollars.
That's what I was gonna get at too, is because what I've seen from some people on TikTok who have like, I've been to Brazil, I've never had a problem. That's fantastic. I don't anticipate people having problems. They are also not multi-millionaires
Yeah,
like
they're
these
not.
guys are.
Exactly.
And
Like,
they're famous multi-millionaires too. So it's like, oh, everyone knows who AJ Brown is. Everyone knows who
yeah,
Jordan Love is.
right.
They're gonna
Exactly.
recognize them on the street, not you or me if you and I are down there.
Right. So, there's like this air of like, oh, they're gonna get touched or whatever. It's like, bro, if Messi, I mean, and I get it, Messi's like from not Brazil, but I think
Argentina,
he's
yeah.
Argentinian. But he'll walk around easy. He has a bodyguard. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, there's tons of areas in places that are like this, or even in America itself,
Mhm.
in which, like, these people are not going to be walking around.
Mhm.
I'm
You
going to
walked
walk
around
around.
Richmond?
Right. Hey, man, those the Kia boys are out. All right. So, and I just think that it's blown a little bit out of proportion that we're thinking about this now. I will say, though, and this is completely counter, but when you think of Brazil, the crime in Brazil has gone up
Mhm.
by a marked amount over the course of the last couple of years. So there is kind of that kind of sense of like, okay, now crime has gone up, has gone down in these general areas. We're going to Brazil. I would like to think that they're acting this way because we're going to Brazil at this time
Mhm.
in Brazil's, like, history, in which,
Yeah.
like, the crime is up and they're going through a lot of stuff and things like that. But I would hate that, they're just like, oh, these people are bad. Look, broke people gonna do anything from, I would hate to have that connotation. But also,
Yeah.
it's the fucking NFL.
Yeah.
Like,
They're gonna
they don't care. Like,
billion-dollar corporation, tons of players going down. I mean, like you said, this could be in any city in
Yeah.
the United States, New York, LA,
yeah.
San Francisco. Look what happened to Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah, dude just got shot. Like,
Mhm.
chill.
Nowhere is safe. Hell, rural Iowa could be unsafe. For
Exactly,
all we know. Anywhere is
exactly.
safe. Anywhere is unsafe. I think there are some justifications to the extra precautionary. I think like both teams now have extra security.
Yeah.
I think it's a smart idea.
But
I don't think it should be because of like the culture of the Brazilian people
Right.
that they need to be fearsome and have like extra
I just think it's the
security.
fact that they're millionaires out of the country
Mhm.
by that point alone, and you're doing something that's going to make a ton of people a lot of money.
Yeah, and you're
Take my bodyguard. Take 3. You know,
Mhm.
like continue to make money for me. You know,
Yeah.
insane. And you're going out of the country, no matter where you're
And
going.
for the first time for a lot of these players and for the NFL in general, like we
Yeah,
have our third string QB who did 2 years mission in Brazil. He speaks Portuguese, so
yeah.
that's like bumped up Eagle fandom down there a little bit. But
Oh my
it's
god.
everyone's first time,
No wonder they
pretty
gave you
much.
guys the home game. So,
It's the majority of them. It's their first time in this country, and it's
right.
the NFL's first time exploring playing in South America. I think from a global standpoint, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
You know, we played in Europe. It's like when bands say they go on a world tour and it's just the
Right.
U.S., Europe,
In Europe, yeah,
Australia.
exactly. They don't want to touch that. Yeah, or they can't justify going to South
Hmm.
America or whatever. But I think that just leans into the whole concept of like, yeah, dude, if I was Brazil, I would treat this the same as like you got the Olympics. You know, you
Yeah,
may not make
exactly.
that Russia cash or whatever, but like
Hmm.
this is an opportunity. You're coming in on the ground level of the new wing of football. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You're bringing football, which we've seen grow from. Football is like one of the younger sports. Go from like all the way to like one of the biggest things that we look forward to
Hmm.
every year.
Yeah, I
Some people
mean,
mark their New Year's based off of the how close it is to the Super Bowl.
yeah, people will base their whole vacations. There's tons of Eagles fans, I'm sure Packers fans as well, already down in Brazil. They probably took a week off
Are
for
you
this
kidding me?
shit.
Yes, dude. Yes,
Like
absolutely. You're
like
gonna see it.
Rio is beautiful. You got the Christ Redeemer statue. It's
Yeah,
only
but
like a
this,
40
yeah,
minute flight from Sao Paulo,
yeah,
so it's close enough to make a day trip out of it. I think it's a great, I don't want to say experiment, but I think it's a great opportunity for the NFL to
and for
play
Brazil,
this and for Brazil.
and for Rio
Absolutely.
de Janeiro, like it's just There's too much at stake. They want this to go well,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the thing that I feel like what they should be preaching, or not preaching, but saying from the soapbox is just like, we don't want anything to go down. Like you don't want a
Mm-hmm.
single thing to go out of
Yeah,
place.
it's not gonna go perfect, but you
Right.
want it to be as perfect as possible. Some people were worried about like the field, but let me tell y'all, the Corinthians, the soccer team that plays there, their field turf is the exact same at
As
Lambeau
both
Stadium
and
and
link.
the Link.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the
So don't worry about
same
that.
exact turf. Which yeah, I just heard that and I was like, oh, perfect. So they're both playing like so it
Hmm.
kind of feels like home for both
Yeah,
of them.
exactly. There's no disadvantage
Right.
because of difference of field opportunity. Overall, on this subject, I'll say it's just a great opportunity. I think.
It's an amazing tool. I'm glad that yeah, and I feel like you feel the same way that I am.
Mhm.
Sorry if I'm cutting
No,
you
you're
off.
good.
But it's an amazing. I'm glad that these are the two teams. They get
Oh yeah.
everything about it. It's weird because the names odd. Love hurts. It's
Mhm.
so weird.
I
First
love it.
time I love it. It's like God.
I love it so much it hurts.
Right. Exactly. I feel like I love it so much it hurts. I feel like a marketing schemes like per executive went to bed like Christmas
Mhm.
last year. It was a good boy, good philanthropist. All this, he was just like, please give me the best marketing scheme.
Probably sleeping on a pillow full of hundreds.
100,000. They have
Mhm.
dollar bills that we don't get to see. They're dollar bills.
Satin dollar bills.
Satin dollar bills. This is Egyptian cotton 100s. This band is made out of just seal blubber, whatever the fuck. I don't know what I don't know what rich people do.
I don't know.
But yeah, I just imagine somebody just like said a prayer. It was just like, give me the best marketing scheme. They're like,
Mhm.
boom, NFL, boom, South America, boom, Love Hurts, boom. They
Mhm.
both wear
Well,
green.
Both teams are like super popular with just their history, their culture right now, their
Yeah.
philanthropy. Philly, a lot of people say fans are rude, fans are passionate, whatever. I'll accept both just fine.
Y'all got the jail. in
Yeah,
the thing.
okay. So my fiance was watching the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader show. They also have a jail. So having a jail at the stadium, I
You
think is
don't
more
ever want.
common
Okay, let me just tell.
than
Let me.
people
All right.
think.
Let me kick it to you like this, bro.
All right.
You don't ever want to be compared to in any way, shape, or form the Cowboys.
Oh, for sure.
For
But
absolutely sure.
what I'm saying is people want to use that as a negative,
Oh.
argument towards Philly because they have a jail in their stadium. Well, America's team, they have a jail in their stadium. Their fans are probably inappropriate with the cheerleaders.
Oh,
Whatever.
absolutely. It's fucking Texas, bro. Like, what do you mean? Also, it's not because you guys have a jail. You guys famously are hated as the worst Because you threw snowballs at
Okay,
Santa.
So here's the story behind that. First of all, that
You
was
have
like
to explain it.
50 to 60 years ago. Second, the original person who was supposed to play, this is from what I've read, heard, etc. So I could be wrong in some areas, whatever. So the person who was supposed to play Santa Claus that day, like, got sick, did not show up, whatever. It was not the original person who was supposed to play Santa. It was supposed to be like a family-friendly event.
I've heard this a little bit.
Then the person didn't show up. Then there's a guy who's super drunk, super obnoxious. We don't know what fan he was a team of at the time. But they are like, we got to get this guy out of the stands. So and everyone knew this guy was becoming Santa and very drunk and obnoxious, and that he was going to become the Santa. So they pelted the drunk guy. Not Santa by chance. And it's snowballs, not batteries or whatever the fuck people want to say.
The version that I heard was snowballs, but rocks were in them. But my cousin heard batteries. He heard that, like, but that's the grit.
Here's the thing.
But also the players have come out and said the Philly fans are brutal.
Yeah, it's passionate brutality. I get it. But look at 49ers fans. They fight not only Raiders fans, but they fight each other in today's years. 2024. Some 49ers fans shot some dude in the leg.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They shot their own player.
I'm always down to say fuck the 49ers. As a Green Bay Packers fan, I'm always down for a fuck the 49ers type of, like, try.
Have you heard the song?
Fuck the 49ers.
Yeah.
I'll write that song.
All right, let's get back on track. Okay.
Right. But speaking of getting back on track, that's what I was about to say. Even down to, like, the story of these two teams as it's come off the offseason. They're basically brand new coaches. They both have lost pretty big statutes in their teams, and they've had to go out into the free agency to kind of mesh that up. These are two different, like, lines, O-lines. Completely, our right guard is like, and y'all, let's
see the stats on,
yeah, let's get the stats on, and then, like, you just lost, Kelsey and what's his name,
Fletcher Cox on
Fletcher
the D-line.
Cox, yes, yeah.
I mean, yeah, both these teams are gonna, the trenches look a little different this year. I still have convo. We have the heaviest O-line in the league at 1,600 pounds of collective weight between the 5 starters.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it's a lot. All right, but speaking of our offense, I want to go into some quarterback talk. Love hurts.
Yeah, Love does hurt.
So Jordan Love just got paid. Big contract.
Yeah, I heard that he got the headwind contract.
Yeah. Jalen, he got paid last year. We saw a little bit of regression from it. We saw regression or injury from other players who got paid, such as Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Joe Burrow's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think will be different about? I'm going to talk about. Well, let's talk about both of our quarterbacks. What is going to be different about Jalen Hurts this year, and will Jordan Love have another impressive year, show regression, or do better than he did this year? He had a hell of a year. I'm going to be unbiasedly saying 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions passing. Great year. Great year for his first year as a full-time starter.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And, great year with a very young wide receiver core.
Yes.
Very young. I think they're all rookies. I think, like, the median age was, like, 20.
Yeah. Well, Christian Watson's no longer a rookie.
Yeah. But I mean, like, and when he was injured, like, for a little bit last year and came back, I think he hurt his leg in one of the, I think it was not the Kansas City game, but he came back around for playoffs. Obviously, I don't know what type of magic they do, but yeah, he had a very young wide receiver core and was able to do a lot. Now, I, just like a lot of other Green Bay fans, paid our soul cost. We have to sacrifice a soul to the soul of Bart Starr and Lombardi. Yeah, Thanos, whoever you want to call it.
Stone.
Yeah, Vince Lombardi's soul, basically. And then he delivers a prodigal quarterback every couple decades. Obviously, like, the first one we kind of stopped giving, and that's why Aaron Rodgers started talking crazy. And so, now we're starting to tithe a little bit more, given the soul tax again, and we have Love. I honestly think that he had a really good year, but during the start, like, we Like, we weren't paying attention. I'm the type of fan that like I watch over the games like during the season. Off season, life tends to kick up. I catch up and then I get back into it. In the season.
That's pretty typical.
Yeah, and that's typical for it's a very typical thing. The other thing is like I grew up in a very like football heavy household. Like oh my god, it was dangerous. And my stepdad was a Bears fan.
Ooh.
I was a Green Bay fan before my mom met him.
Talk about a divided household.
Holy moly. It was the only time I could cuss. You know what I'm saying? And because he loved it. He knew if I'm cussing,
that you're getting into
the Bears are winning. Dude, I'm serious. I'm so serious. But
I mean, my fiance knows when the Eagles are losing just by my vocalizations.
Oh yeah. No, my partner knows when the Green Bay Packers are playing because like she's like, "Are you dead? Where are you?
Are you okay?
Are you okay?
Do
you
I
haven't
need to call
talked to
somebody?"
me, right?" And I'm just like holed up in my room because I have a lot of friends who are into arts and stuff, and I'm just like, I like the Green Bay Packers, and they're like, "What is a football and how do I dunk it?" And I'm like, "Okay, cool, fine, cool." It's tough. It really is. But as I was watching
the rap game,
it really is hard. Oh my gosh, so tough out here in these streets. But as I was watching the games, I'm like, damn, we're just really getting hoed right now. And it's just like, all right, I'm used to, I was so used to Aaron Rodgers, and that's kind of like what the push was. It was like we've had such a good dynasty because we had Favre, and then we had Rodgers, who
you had Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and they brought home a chip. Each one we sent them out into the world, they bring back a chip home. But then as I got to see Love play a little bit more, I was like, he's not bad. He just seemed like, he was throwing. He had a couple of good games, but he had some tough losses.
Yeah.
Some losses to I think the Raiders was a really tough one.
Yeah. They beat the shit out of the Cowboys in the playoffs.
Oh my God. But that's the thing though. It was a gamble getting there. I remember watching their run towards the end of the season because I was just like, oh, playoffs were starting to come into the thing. We were in like a very weird wild card area, but I also just wanted anybody. Whenever Green Bay starts to suck, it's just like anybody from the North. I think it's anybody except for the Bears. I think they're the only ones. But anybody from the North, anybody else will go for. But as we started to lean in, I was like, dude, this man's making some crazy passes. And that's where I started to realize, and they started to kind of say this a lot. It's like he is a good blend of a Brett Favre in that he will slang that thing. He off the tippy toes sling that bitch. But he's like Aaron Rodgers in this that like the accuracy is kind of there.
Yeah.
The bullet is kind of there.
Yeah, I feel like it's more the receivers making the drop than it is Jordan making a bad pass.
Exactly. Yeah.
Kind of speaking like along the lines of that with I'll go back to my quarterback for a sec, but like how do you think your offense is going to stand against our defense with your young receiver core who is more not likely but is prone to mistakes like drop passes like
drop
that.
passes are
How do you
really
think that'll
big thing.
handle a revamped Eagles defense?
I think that is going to be, that was the one thing that I actually wrote down in my notes was that this game is going to come down. I mean, when I played football, I played defense. So everybody knows defense absolutely wins games. I think that the only time it wasn't like defense wins championships or games in general was maybe like the fucking when Green Bay had that one season where we were like 15-1 because Aaron Rodgers was like shutting shit down.
Yeah,
score over score over score. That was the only time I was like, offense might be the shit, But I think this game, and I think getting back to it, I think this game is going to come down to that defense, and it's going to be in the secondary. You guys picked up what was a new a new quarterback?
So we
cornerback.
We got two cornerbacks. We drafted Quinyon Mitchell in the first round.
Somebody from Iowa, and then the other person from
Cooper DeJean from Iowa. Yes.
Yeah, Cooper. Yeah, I think that watching them settle into a new defense in the secondary is going to be interesting. I think that what our offense really needs to do is going to come down to that line. I think that getting our line down is going to be a really huge thing. I think having the honestly, I think in the secondary we'll be okay as long as we're healthy. As long as we have Watson, Dobbs, I think his hand is hurt.
I think I read something about that.
Yeah,
Can't
but I
remember.
think he said that he'll be all right. But if we have Dobbs and we have Watson and we can actually get some traction, get Musgrove in there, tight ends,
Mm-hmm.
I think that we can put the moves on a young rookie cornerback
Yeah. But
system.
here's the thing that you got is we have we have the Vic Fangio defense, two
Yeah.
high safety
Yep.
with your corners right now being likely it's going to be Isaiah Rogers and Darius Slay, who are
Yeah.
veterans,
Yeah.
with potentially Quinyon in the nickel position, maybe Avonte Maddox, but I think it's more likely going to be Quinyon. We've seen rookie corners kind of dive in the mix of things. Devin Witherspoon, Christian Gonzalez
Mhm.
make an impact. So to me, Quinyon has already made a little bit of an impact to like be that nickel starter. I could also see Cooper DeJean getting in there in the mix
Yeah.
because the thing is he is a strong run read player. And when you guys or if you guys are having a hard time with the pass game because they're getting locked up by Slay or Mitchell or Rogers or whatever the case may be, you have the safety blitz that's putting more pressure. Cooper in the nickel can not only hit, but he can read the run pretty well. So if you're relying too much on your run game, that might be a problem as well.
It might be a problem. The only thing is that like leaning into the run game, Josh Johnson is really good through
Josh
through
Jacobs.
Jet. Thank you. I was in my head. I went Jack Johnson. No, I was
Yeah.
like, that's not it.
Josh Johnson is a quarterback.
Yeah. But yeah, Josh Jacobs, I think he's really good at hitting the run. I think that he can really make those runs out of the hole. Again, this is going to go back to that O line. Are we going to be
Yeah.
able to make that hole for him? Are we going to be able to like actually set him up to make the plays that he knows how to make? I think
Mhm.
that's when it'll be tested versus that nickel with Cooper. And I feel like if Cooper can read the run and he's that good at it, then like again, it's going to come down to can we keep our quarterback safe enough to be able to utilize the weapon that is your running back to be able to open up the defense
Yeah.
to make a play.
You
Because
got-
if you have Watson off the ball, he's fast as fuck. Like
yeah.
he can make a clean route,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's the one thing that like as new cornerbacks they're gonna have to get used to as rookie cornerbacks.
Yeah. So that makes me kind of like wonder, like, Avonte Maddox has typically been the starter of the nickel, although he's been taking reps at safety because he's got a lot of injury history. I think it also kind of depends on it. Just really depends on like how you guys are running your offense that day. If it's going to be like a run middle of the field heavy, if it's going to be outside route heavy, if it's going to be go route heavy, we just don't know what it's going to look like yet.
Mm.
Well, I will say that is, our defensive line has, in recent years historically been on fire. You got Jalen Carter, you got Jordan Davis, you got Brandon Graham, you got Josh Sweat. We don't have Hassan Reddick anymore, but that's fine because he's been holding out with the Jets. But I
Yeah.
think that D line, is gonna do some work. They have to at that point because
Yeah.
you have linebacker wise, you have probably Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean, who our linebacker core has not been the strongest over the past few years. But I think the moves that they've made so far, we have Devin White out, which is unfortunate with an ankle injury, so he will not
Well,
be playing.
I heard about that, but I also heard that he was getting beat out in practice by like some dude named Bean, and then
Yeah, so
this was going to be something that was going to happen regardless.
But I think with the change in environment that he's had, he's looked a lot better in camp. And, camp is camp for sure. But, we see a lot of players switch environments and just blow up after a
yeah,
bad season or, a mild season or something. You saw it's like
Right.
the Christian McCaffrey effect. He was great in Carolina,
yeah,
hell of a lot better in San Francisco.
yeah. He gels well with the system.
Yeah. My thing is how y'all going to stop Saquon Barkley? Saquon Barkley.
Saquad, yeah.
Because here's the thing. Y'all's pass defense last year ranked 9th overall, but your
The
run
run
defense has been not the best over the years and ranked 28th this past year. So how are you going to stop not only Saquon Barkley, but let's say it's 4th and 1. You got the brotherly shove. You got
Okay,
Jalen
yeah,
Hurts. You
Jalen
got
Hurts always
Jalen
gonna,
Hurts.
quarterback. I mean, he's deadly in the open field. He's
Mhm.
all, damn near running back himself. And then up top you have Anthony Brown or AJ Brown,
Mm-hmm.
and
Who is like almost unguardable himself at times.
yeah, I mean that's what I was about to say. I was like, he himself can he dust out anybody. And the other God, who is it on the other side?
Devontae Smith, the Slim Reaper.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, and I think that comes down to what Green Bay has always been. We're an on and off team when it comes to defense.
Mm-hmm.
Some of our games were amazing at shutting down really good running backs.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just not the case all the time. I mean, looking back at the we did an okay time with dealing with the 49ers, but not the run.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got
Yeah,
ran
because
all
they
the
have
way
a
through.
really strong run game with a running back.
Oh, amazing! Like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
People are look. So the thing is, people are looking at Saquon's move to Philly as equivalent to CMC's move to San Francisco, in the sense that they were both great at where they were before, weren't utilized the best, didn't have the best blocking O line for them. Moved to a city where the O line is more fantastic. With San Francisco, you got Trent Williams at that left tackle position.
yeah.
Their O line is pretty steady.
Trent-
Philadelphia historically has a great O line. You got two monster tackles in Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson. Um, so how? Here's the thing: how does your defense? This is one of my next questions. How does your defense stop that run game if the or if the rushing defense has not been the best over the past few years?
Well, I mean, like it hasn't been the best over the past few years. I'm banking on Jeff Halfley, the new defensive coordinator. I'm banking on his vision for our defense right now. I'm hoping that we're able to kind of shore up that run defense a little bit more. I think that our defensive line, I feel like our defensive line can move around a little bit more from like a passing defense to a up front in your face type of hit defense. The issue I feel like, and this is kind of like how I've always viewed Green Bay, we don't hit. There's a lack of the fundamentals of tackling.
It's shoulder tackling. I
Yeah,
used to say this all the time about former safety Marcus
because
Epps. He was
right.
a shoulder hitter for sure, never really wrapped up, and there was a lot of tackles that he missed. So you're thinking your guys don't have the fundamental skills to make tackles. You think there may be a lot of missed tackles? Is that where you're kind of getting at?
I think that there are a lot of those like those fundamental like I feel like there's just a lot of like hits, but they're not wrapping up. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of sideline to sideline hits. There's
Yeah,
pushes. There's
the
things like
yards after
that.
contact go crazy.
Yeah,
Is what you're saying.
yeah. Especially like dealing with like our lower like our line.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm looking at is here is I guess kind of like the ending question is what do you think your team, and I'll answer this one too. So what do you think your team as a whole needs to do to get this W for y'all?
We need to shut down the run,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that on the defensive side of the ball, we need to rely on Jair Alexander. We need to be able to take. I don't know how. Like even when I say that, I'm just like get
But
AJ
here's the
Brown.
thing.
Like
Here's the thing. Here's the thing on that.
But I mean,
Who do you match him up with? Devontae Smith or AJ Brown?
I, that's what I'm saying. I was
Both
like,
are great route runners. Both have their own unique capabilities.
but that's what I was just thinking. I was just like, but who do you even like put him next to? Because on the
Yeah.
other side of that is it Valentine?
Yeah,
Valentine, and
something like that.
there's literally Valentine and Valentine.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Valentine, God, I can't remember. I can't get their names correct. The
Think-
person, yes, Valentine is
Yeah.
the cornerback.
Yeah.
But I would put Jair on AJ Brown. I mean,
Mhm.
now is he going to be able to do anything about that? Is he going to be clamps on AJ Brown? I think that we're going to have to just understand that there is going to be attacks
Yeah.
that comes with this game.
I think
But we
you-
cannot lose at the line. That's the
Yeah.
problem. That's what I feel like is our way of victory. Is if we can shut down the run defense, keep pressure on Hurts, make it hurt where it counts. Then we can kind of mitigate what our secondary will have to do
Mhm.
up on the back end. I feel like if we can't win that battle down on the ground, though, we're gonna lose it in the air.
And that's one of the parts that concerns me is his ability to play against the blitz wasn't the greatest last year. We
Mhm.
definitely saw it in the Tampa Bay wild card game. But that's a lot of what he was been working on in camp all season is to be able to not only read the blitz, but to make a decision when the blitz comes. That's what he had a hard time with, was making decisions when the blitz came. He also had, offensive play calling that was like as creative as vanilla ice cream. Like
Well, that's because vanilla people were picking it for him. He had Travis Kelsey, brother Jason Kelsey.
No, no, no. The play calling, more so, we all thought it was coming from the OC Brian Johnson, but he was getting overruled a lot by head coach Nick Sirianni, who was a former offensive coordinator and very offensive heavy. But
I thought that the calls were being made on the field based off of the center.
It's communicated. The center will read the defense and maybe either call like an audible or make an adjustment to the play. It really kind of depends. But at the same time, like, who knows what the offensive coordinators or the head coach are like saying to Jason before or after the game. Is like, you run these as such versus him making his own decision.
Please forgive me, Jason Kelsey. Don't kill me in my sleep.
But the thing is like, we made those improvements. We got rid of Brian Johnson. We have Kellen Moore, who's historically a well-renowned offensive coordinator. He's had the number one or a top 5, top 10 offense in the past like 4 consecutive years, I think, minus Los Angeles with the Chargers. Nick Sirianni is like, I'm taking a step back, as he should have in the first place, and letting Kellen make the decisions. Because when Kellen Moore came into it,
we had Mike McCarthy. We understand.
He had the mindset of, I'm going to make Jalen 2022 Jalen again. Like, with the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts. He's like, he knows Jalen's talents, which I think because of one regression year, people just love to hate him for it.
Well, it's Philly.
Yeah, I mean, it's Philly too. Jalen Hurts could be on another team and they'd love him, but since it's Philly,
y'all love Donovan McNabb, and as soon as he didn't bring a chip home, y'all could have killed him.
Yeah. But I mean, we weren't like that with Brian Dawkins. We cheered him when he came back.
That's true.
But I think the thing is like, it's everything is very new, but very in the direction of where the offensive players wanted it to go in. They were like, really like the offense. We made hella offseason moves. And I think from an offensive perspective, our players are going to be in a much better situation, because it's not like those players didn't have talent. One of the top wide receiver cores in the league. They didn't have the talent.
So you guys have a good triple threat.
Yeah.
You guys have a really
quarterback,
good
running back, wide receiver.
Quarterback, running back, wide receiver.
Yeah. And now we have an offensive coordinator who understands that and understands variety in play calling and reading defense and making adjustments. That was a hard thing that both coordinators were having last season and even in the Super Bowl, was making in-game adjustments. Yeah, which I don't know why the fuck that was not.
But that's what I was about. Well, that's what I was trying to get to when I was saying earlier. I think that with Jalen Hurts, I think he needs to be the one to be able to read and call these plays to his liking, to be able to get.
Yeah.
Not to say that he's not going to listen to the coach or not going to listen to the offensive coordinator, but when he's on the field, I feel like he took a back step to people who are more, fluid in that role. But I think this year it's going to be on him. Mm-hmm. And I think those snaps are going to come into, and that's what I would want to prevent. I want him to not know what to do. Especially early on.
From your perspective,
right?
Definitely.
Yeah, no, but honestly, I want to take advantage of that right now, because I feel like later on down the line, when that oiled machine starts to click, I don't want to be around for that. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that we're doing it now. I'm glad that both of these teams, that's what I was saying earlier, I'm glad that both of these teams, not only does it fit, love hurts, all that, blah, 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 but they are very new teams, and they're tailoring to the talent that is on these teams already.
Because last time we played, it was a close game. I think it was a one-score game in 2022.
Yeah.
So the talent level on both sides, I think, is very good. What I'm confident about my team this year is that, last year we went in with this headstrong ideology, but I don't think the emotional connection to the desire was necessarily there. This time it's all the way around. Even the locker room is talking about how much Jalen has improved as a vocal leader, as a team leader. Not saying that he wasn't as much last time, but I think as the regression and the injury occurred, I feel like they really pushed him with his injury.
Yeah.
You know, he had a busted knee for like 6
Yeah.
weeks, and that's all everyone talked about was like
It's
his
tough.
knee injury. And that I feel like that did have a toll on him.
It'll
in
mentally
that game.
fuck you up. You know,
Yeah.
they really do go to like sports, like there's sports psychologists who
Mhm.
work with these people just because of that type of mentality.
Exactly.
You know?
It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot
Yeah.
of physical pressure, a lot of emotional, psychological pressure that I don't think that people read into as much as you and I do, just because of the nature of what we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think from that psychological standpoint, things are only up from last year,
Mm-hmm.
and I think this is the chance. You know, week one is that some people are looking at it as like not the. You know, a lot of games you go into week one, you might be like, oh, this is the tone for the year.
Right.
Some people say this is not that tone for the year just yet, and wait till week two because we're in a foreign country. I think the opposite. I think setting the tone by getting a win in a foreign country against a really good team, like
Yeah, it could.
puts you on the map.
It could. It could definitely do that. I think that these teams are, just from looking at how people are viewing this, I think they're thinking way down the stretch, because I think these are both teams in which, like, I don't really watch the preseason like that, but I think both of these teams didn't suit up.
Both starters. So this was the second year in a row that Nick Sirianni did not play the offensive starters in any series. We had
Right.
the defense play, I think, like a series or two in, I think, 2 of the 3 games.
Yeah.
But we, for the second season in a row, did not. And I think because there was a lot of injuries in camp for us, a lot of
Right.
like lower extremity injuries that I think they were worrying.
I don't think that we suited our
I-
offense at all.
I don't think so. From what I've seen, just through like highlight snippets,
I really don't think. Yeah.
So if that, let's say that is the case, both these teams are going in.
Fucking. That's what I'm saying though.
fresh.
That's
They're
what I'm
going in
saying. That's why when
fresh.
I'm like, I would like to see it as it's going to be fresh, not cooked. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because like I'm afraid that when this does start to cook for y'all or for us, whoever, like both of these teams have the ability. They're Super Bowl contending teams
Mm-hmm.
if brought to the light. I think that what I like about my team is that they're very young.
Mm-hmm. I
You
mean,
know-
so are we. We're like in the top 10, I think, lowest age group with our median age being like 26, 27, something like that.
I think ours is like 20. I thought ours was 25. It might have been.
It's something around that. It's all like
Yeah.
between 25 and like 27. It's like 26.2, 27.1,
Right, somewhere
whatever,
around
something
there.
like that.
But Green Bay has an ability to like make really good talent and then give it away. You know,
Mhm.
we have a really good. So I'm just like in my mind, I'm like, when we are of a veteran status,
Mhm.
But then I'm like, I don't know if we'll ever have like a Donald Driver who's been here for eons and now he's playing with this other quarterback. I don't
Yeah.
think we'll ever really ever have that again.
Yeah,
We'll-
here's the thing with the quarterback situation. I think before we go into predictions, I'll just kind of like wrap this part up before we go into our prediction segment. I think both quarterbacks are under an equal amount of pressure, and here's
Yeah.
why. Here's the thing. So for Jalen Hurts, obviously he had a regression year. Career high interceptions at 15, which you see Josh Allen, he's had 14 to 18 interception years the past 3-4 years.
Yeah, consider the Great White Hope sometimes.
Mhm. But not his best year. But even still, it took his team to the playoffs. It collapsed mainly. Say what you will of it, whether it be team leadership, poor coordinating, coaching differences, just discrepancies, etc. Whatever the case. One being on Philly already puts a lot of pressure on that QB because just how people are nowadays about Philly fans. But two, he's coming off a regression year and people continuously doubt his talent. He is a talented guy. We saw evidence of that in 2022. He is a talented guy, and I think he can get back up to that capability because the locker room is more stable. There is more confidence in our quarterback.
Mm.
There is more confidence in the team as a whole. And on the flip side, for Jordan Love, he's under pressure because he just got paid. Here's the thing. The quarterbacks who just got paid recently, I'm telling y'all, look it up. Quarterbacks who got paid, the season in which, like that following season, let's say they get their contract in March of
Yep.
2024, September 2024, that season starting. They have either gotten injured, shown significant regression, but not like bench level regression, or both. We saw it with Justin Herbert, got injured. Lamar Jackson, injury
Got
and
injured,
regression.
yeah.
Joe Burrow, injury. Jalen Hurts, injury and regression. You name it. And we saw 3 quarterbacks get paid. We saw at least, there's plenty of quarterbacks got paid, but Trevor Lawrence got paid.
Yeah.
Tua Tagovailoa got paid. Jordan Love got paid.
Yeah.
So my thing is, I call it the contract curse.
Yeah.
So I think and players probably don't think about this, but he had a great first year. So that is the expectation of him going in. And if he doesn't perform at that level in the first game, that's already good. A lot of people are going to set that as the tone for him in the next few weeks, at least.
Well, I mean, but there's another curse here as well. I agree, and I shit my pants a little bit as you were just explaining that. I was like, damn, I was just really happy the guy got paid. I was like, great job getting money, brother. But like, fuck, man, give it back. You know. Anyway, but there's the Green Bay curse.
What's that?
It's something I've created in my head because every Green Bay fan has always, we don't say it, but we think it.
Mm-hmm.
We know how fucking lucky we got. We understand.
Mm-hmm.
So we've just been waiting for the other shoe to drop. We get rid of Favre. Oh, we're gonna go through the reconstruction years where we have to reconstruct around AQB.
Mm-hmm.
No. My name is Aaron. I studied right underneath that guy. These people know me. Watch me shoot the lights out. Oh fuck! What are you gonna do? I'm gonna win a championship. Fuck. He got paid.
Mm-hmm.
Next year went damn near undefeated. Lost.
Mm-hmm.
There's always that curse. But I think Green Bay has a curse in which the pressure that comes from sitting underneath a legend is like the story of Green Bay right now.
Yeah.
And so he always will have that pressure. When you said that he has to perform at that level, he doesn't. He needs to be better than that. He has to. Because as a Green Bay fan, look at what we've seen since I was a baby. Lights out fucking quarterbacks. We've seen quarterbacks that are like, damn, they're really great. These are great quarterbacks. They have a championship. Maybe, Brett Favre has more than Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers arguably is a better quarterback. You can make that argument. Jordan Love has the potential to be a better quarterback than that. But
it's a small sample size, but he's heading in the right direction.
Exactly.
And that's what I kind of feel like with Jalen Hurts as a full-time starter, because yes, he's been drafted in 2020, but this is, I believe, his only fourth season as a full-time starter, because 2021 he took a team that was 4-12 the previous year, took them to the playoffs.
Yep.
The year after that, boom, he takes them to the fucking Super Bowl. Year after that is a little bit of aggression, but fourth year, this is like kind of like a moment where like, okay, this is where I need to reprove myself.
Yeah.
And he can say fuck the haters, all that kind of stuff, very true, but at the same time, a lot of that doubt can get to your head psychologically. So if you shut them up, then all that pressure the pressure drops a little bit.
It does. And I think that the same thing can be said for Jordan Love, which is, again, like, damn, whoever thought about this matchup, they got paid. You know what I'm saying? They got paid.
They did their research.
They got a curse on them. Okay. They got that money. But also going back to the locker room, I feel like that's the one thing about Jordan Love that we were starting to hear even at the end of last year. A rookie locker room, a very young locker room, they all kind of coalesce around Jordan Love because to them, he is proving it. He does the reps. He does the time. And from what I remember hearing, he does that. He's out there with all of them. He's throwing them balls, but he's literally like working with them, like, and he's had that work ethic and he's had that mentality of, he's more humble, and so it gives a lot of air for him to grow. And I think that over the off season, that's something that's going to create, sticky fingers, as I like to call them. I'm going to catch this ball. Yeah, I've seen it. So I feel like with that amount of time with that core, that could bring him to a higher sense of self identity within this team. And I think that if that clicks, we'll win. We'll see what Josh Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt does. You know what I'm saying? Like,
his name's my name too.
Bro, like whenever,
I'm so corny sometimes,
bro.
Man.
Yo, whenever you go out, I mean, I've seen it. People always shout. There goes Michael John Jacob Jingleheimer.
All right, y'all. Let's wrap up this with some predictions. All right, we are, kind of just going to spitball some predictions. I think Offensively, we're going to see A.J. Brown go. I'm calling it. He's going to go for over 100 yards receiving.
Okay. Oh my
I
God.
think Devontae Smith will go around the 70 to 80 range, just being the wide receiver 2, but could be a wide receiver 1 on any team. I
Okay.
think he goes over, between 70 to 80 yards. I think he won't have a touchdown, but I think A.J. Brown will have at least 2. I could see Saquon running it in for 1, maybe Jalen
Okay.
running in for 1. And I think we'll score, I mean, at least those 4 touchdowns. I think the final score will be 34-31. I think it's going to be super tight because of the
Really?
situation that they're in, and new country, new teams, new offense, new coordinators. Both teams have got new coordinators.
Yeah.
They are in prove it years.
But we got a defensive coordinator. We didn't get an offensive.
We got both offense and defense. Y'all got a defense, so both teams
Yeah.
got new coordinators in
Yeah.
some type of way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's going to be because we saw what happened last time they played, and it was with Aaron Rodgers. So Jordan Love's never gone against
That's the
Philadelphia
biggest
before.
thing. Yeah. Yeah. Jordan Love has never played against Philly.
Yeah, but
So-
Philly's never played against Jordan Love.
Exactly.
So,
That again is why this
but
this
we
matchup
played
is so good.
against your receivers, so they
Yeah.
have at least have a sense of what the receivers are capable of. You could watch film on Jordan Love, but you're in the game in the moment. You never know what can happen. I think it's going to be a tight game. I'm calling it 34-31 right now. I think it's going to be a tighter game than I think a lot of people. I think a lot of people think it'll be a close game, but I think
Well,
there's
we're
some who's
still
going to be
the
like, oh, they're going to be
underdogs.
blow out of the
Yeah.
water. It's a 2-point difference though.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
like plus or minus 2 or something like that.
I mean,
What about you? What are you thinking?
I was giving it 28. I was giving it 2014. I thought that this was going to be more of a defensive game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that both of these defenses are going to go off.
I'm assuming you're thinking Packers
Green
28.
Bay. Yeah.
Eagles 14.
I
Okay.
just think that there's a Swiss Army is about Jordan Love, where it's like we can do things like Dobbs if his hand is right, then I feel like he can go for. Well, I mean, I think that Watson himself is going to go for over 100, but I think that Dobbs, even if he goes for like splitting it, 30 to 50,
Mm-hmm.
we still have Musgrove. We still have we have a quarterback who can make things work. And I think that he himself can run it in. Is it seen as much?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd put Jordan Love against Jalen Carter and look at that without fear.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is he gonna do it? No, but I don't think that he will. But I don't think that this is going to be a super duper offensive heavy game as everybody thinks that it is.
That's why I think it'll be such high scoring because it's going to be such a close defensive. It's going to be back and forth. Like
everybody's always gonna have it.
It's going to be alternating scores.
I'm thinking more of like a shutdown. I think it's going to go into the secondary, and we're going to be more surprised with what we see there. Because on both sides of the secondary, it looks mismatchy a little bit. I mean, to me, it just seems as though it seems as though there's going to be a lot more takeaways than what I've seen predicted. But
I think if we are run heavy out of the gun and it's successful, we'll be in good shape. Because just with the nature of y'all's rush defense.
But that's the same thing I could say for us as well. I think that if we get our run, it's whoever. I feel like that it goes down to it's that line.
Mm-hmm.
That line battle is going to be it.
Yeah, y'all heard it here. Battle in the trenches. We got We got Eagles 34, Packers 31 is my prediction. Marquise with 28-14 Packers on top. And with that note, we're going to wrap up today's show. Thank you, Marquise, for joining us. If you have anything that you want to, if you have anything you want to say to the audience real quick, feel free, my man.
Always tip your bartenders and waitresses. Also, keep supporting my man's right here, yo. 2nd and 15 is an amazing podcast, and I'm glad that this is growing, and I love to watch it grow. This is amazing, man. So yeah, keep it tuned. Check out those sponsors, right?
For sure.
Yeah, you still have to send me that link. I have not forgotten it.
I got you. Links.
I haven't forgotten you either, Link.
The links will be in the description of the show. You can follow us on social media on X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, all. Just search 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast.
Hey.
All right, and we'll see you guys next week, but we will be watching on Friday. It's going to be exclusively on Peacock, so if you don't have a membership by now,
I do.
bumming off a friend, I do too. Yes. Bumming off a friend, go to a bar or get it yourself.
Have a
This
drink
Friday night. Have a
for
drink.
me, not on me though.
So we'll see you all next week. Don't forget to stay fly like an eagle. And as always, go birds.
Go Pack, go.